You save money every month for years. You invest consistently. You follow the rules everyone repeats like gospel. And when you finally stop to check your progress, the number staring back at you feels insulting. You've been putting away $500 a month for 3 years straight. That's discipline. That's sacrifice. You expect momentum. Instead, your account sits at around $19,000. Not nothing, but nowhere near the life-changing progress you imagined. At the same time, someone at work casually mentions their portfolio went up $40,000 last quarter. They didn't save more, they didn't do anything special. The market just did its thing while they were on vacation. And suddenly, you're wondering why you're even trying. This is the part of building wealth nobody prepares you for. The beginning doesn't feel like progress. It feels like effort without reward, like stuffing money into something that refuses to grow. You're doing everything right, maxing retirement accounts, buying index funds, living below your means, and your net worth still moves at a painfully slow pace. What you're experiencing isn't failure, it's math. Think of wealth building like pushing a massive boulder uphill. Not a small rock you can nudge forward, but something so heavy it barely responds when you lean your entire body into it. The first stretch is brutal. You're exhausted, slipping, questioning yourself, and when you look back, you've barely moved. That phase represents your journey from zero to your first $100,000. It's slow by design. At this stage, you are doing almost all the work. There's no momentum yet, no assistance from gravity, just raw effort. People quit here because it feels pointless. The reason it feels pointless is because early on, investment returns are mathematically insignificant. If you have $5,000 invested and the market goes up 10%, you made $500. That's not freedom. That's a nice dinner. It doesn't feel like your money's working for you because it basically isn't. For most people, during the first 5 to 7 years, nearly all growth comes from contributions, not returns. You save $6,000 in a year, and the market adds a few hundred. Your brain registers that as, I did all the work, and you're correct. This is the danger zone. You see friends upgrading their lifestyle, new cars, better apartments, vacations. Meanwhile, your brokerage account shows a number that doesn't seem to justify the sacrifice. That's when people ask, what's the point? The point is that you're building a machine, and machines start slow. Foundations don't look impressive. They're hidden. Nobody applauds you for pouring concrete, but without that invisible work, nothing stands. For someone investing consistently, it often takes 7 or 8 years to reach that first $100,000. That's a long time, long enough to forget why you started, long enough to doubt the entire plan. But that first $100,000 is a turning point. Once you cross it, the equation changes. A good year no longer adds hundreds, it adds thousands, sometimes tens of thousands. Your contributions still matter, but now they're being amplified by something outside your direct effort. This is where momentum starts. The second $100,000 usually takes less time than the first, not because you got smarter, but because the math switched sides. Your money is finally heavy enough to pull its own weight. Eventually, you reach a crossover point when your portfolio earns more in a year than you can realistically save from your job. That's when your relationship with work changes. You might keep working, but the fear shifts. Losing a job no longer feels like the end of the world. That's what financial independence actually begins to feel like. Not luxury, not quitting tomorrow, but breathing room. As your portfolio grows into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, the swings become larger. A strong year might add $60,000 or $80,000 without you doing anything extra. A bad month might erase what used to be your annual savings. At first, that's terrifying. Later, it becomes background noise. This is another stage nobody warns you about. When your net worth starts moving more than your salary, money stops feeling concrete. You'll watch your account drop tens of thousands in a downturn and still go make lunch because you understand that volatility isn't the same as loss. Meanwhile, someone else panics over a $2,000 dip. You nod politely and keep quiet because explaining scale sounds like bragging, but it's really just math. Then comes the temptation. After a decade of discipline, you finally feel like you've made it, so you upgrade everything at once. Better house, nicer car, more expensive lifestyle. Your savings rate collapses just as compounding is about to explode. You didn't ruin your progress, but you slowed the most powerful phase. The difference between stopping at $700,000 and pushing to $1.2 million isn't just the extra money, it's the time you buy back. That stretch has disproportionate returns. A few more years of restraint can shave a decade off your working life. Another trap shows up when the numbers get big, the urge to get clever. People start talking about real estate, private deals, side businesses. You feel like you should be doing more with your money. Sometimes that makes sense. Often it's just turning a passive system into another job with more risk. Boring wins over long time horizons. A diversified portfolio left alone has beaten most complicated strategies over decades. Once you've built the machine, the hardest move is often not touching it. Eventually, you hit a point where the math says you're done. The portfolio can support your life indefinitely. And yet, many people keep working. Not because they need the money, because they don't know who they are without work. This is the final stage nobody prepares you for. When money stops being the problem, meaning takes its place. Financial independence doesn't solve identity, it exposes it. If you retire without purpose, without relationships, without something meaningful to wake up for, you didn't escape, you just removed the distraction. That's why the real goal was never just a number. So wherever you are on this path, still pushing the boulder or finally watching it roll, don't sabotage yourself out of impatience or boredom. Keep feeding the machine, respect the math, and at the same time, build a life you actually want to live when work becomes optional. Because real freedom isn't hitting a milestone, it's reaching a point where money fades into the background and your life finally takes center stage.